Thompson play.
But we've certainly seen him do it before. The Warriors, though, did select second in last night's draft, following the Timberwolves' top pick going to Anthony Edwards out of the University of Georgia. Guys, how does Edwards fit with the Wolves this season? We're going to go through some of these picks. And Zeke, let me just start with you.
I like this pick for the Wolves, particularly because Rubio is coming back. They made the trade for Rubio. So they got Rubio, they got Russell. And now you got Edwards, and he's a high flyer. He's ready to play in the NBA. You can put him out in any situation. I know Steve Smith knows him well. Steve, did a nice job giving us some in-depth information about him last night. So I'm fully confident that he's going to step in, have a good rookie season, and I think Minnesota is a great place for him. Karl Anthony Towns, the way he's played, the way he's progressed. Karl Anthony now shooting it from the 3-point line as well as anybody. So I really like what Minnesota is putting together, and Edwards will fit fine.
Because 3D, each individual franchise has different expectations for their rookie, dependent upon the expectations for the franchise. So what do you expect from him for this season?
I expect him to play great basketball because he'll be around great players. Once again, Isiah, you tapped right into it. The ball is going to be in Rubio's hands a lot, and he's going to be finishing the ball. A lot of times, Cat's going to be double-teamed. So now he's going to get that swing pass on the weak side of the floor, and he'll be able to attack the rim like you see right here in the highlights. So no real pressure on him right now because the Cat Man is still the main ticket, if you will. And then you have D'Angelo Russell. Let's not forget about that. He was an all-star just a few years ago in Brooklyn. So Ant-Man, just come in, play your game, have fun. You have savvy veterans around you. Just show management you're going to play hard every night. You're going to find your way on the floor a lot of minutes.
James Wiseman was then selected second by the Golden State Warriors. 3D, I'll stay with you. How do you think he fits within the team system?
Well, once again, you're playing with Steph Curry. You're playing with Draymond Green. If you're a smart, big fella, you're going to breakfast, you're going to lunch, you're going to brunch, you're going to dinner. You're hanging out with Draymond Green so you can learn how to be the best rim protector in the game as a young guy. If you do that, roll to the basket, you're playing with one of the most unselfish teams in basketball. They're going to find a way to get you the basketball and finish around the rim after watching these highlights. I love the guy, Zeke. He runs the floor well, talking to Penny Hardaway. You see in the highlights, he can shoot jump shots, and he's a high-volume free throw shooter as a young guy being a 7-footer. So you got to love the fact that you get him with the Golden State Warriors.
All right, I like the comparison. Zeke, how beneficial, though, can a winning franchise like the Warriors be for a young talent like this?
You hit the nail right on the head when you said a winning franchise, because he walks into tradition. He walks into a work ethic. When you're looking at Curry, you're looking at Draymond, he's got people around him now that's going to not only be able to story tell about how when they were rookies and how they had to work their way up, but he's going to see in front of his eyes the work ethic that they have. So I think this is a good spot for him, the way the Warriors like to play, the way they like to move up and down. I spent a lot of time talking to Penny Hardaway about Wiseman, and everyone loved him in Memphis. Everyone thought that he not only was he a great kid, but he also was a sponge. He was thirsty for knowledge, and I think going to the Warriors organization is going to be great for him.
Meanwhile, a team that has struggled to see success in recent seasons, the Charlotte Hornets, drafting LaMelo Ball 3rd overall. Zeke, let me go back to you and ask what he can immediately bring to this franchise.
Well, he immediately brings some credibility and visibility. He's one of those players that fans will want to watch play. There's a curiosity about him that people will buy a ticket to come and see. And I think he'll perform and he'll play well. He's 6'7", about $180, $185, and he's going to continue to fill out. I think people are going to be surprised in the league just at how tall he really is, because most people haven't had a chance to really see him since he left high school and went overseas. And now he's come back with a big growth spurt, and I think he's very confident. And I think this is a good pick for the Hornets.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Zeke, because we're watching his highlights, and they're from all over. 3D, what does LaMelo's path to the NBA say about the decision-making possibilities for potential high school stars?
Well, he is now a professional, and I think that's the biggest thing to Zeke's point now. He's been all over the world. He's been in the fire. Now he's ready to come back and show his professionalism. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to watch, Zeke. The highlights look good. Talking to Bogut, talking about he's a great passer. Everyone that's seen him play overseas says he has the it factor. Now can you come back to the state, go to a small market franchise like Charlotte? Obviously, we know Michael Jordan owns the team, but we know Michael Jordan doesn't play anymore. So how can you show all this excitement you've created the last couple of years and make Charlotte a better franchise? Not overnight, but so we can see the future.
Well, when we come back, we're going to look elsewhere in the NBA, which might be what James Harden is doing as well. How could...
I'm going to give it to Kobe with the fadeaway. For sure, you really can't block that.
The Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant's fadeaway jump shot, I think that's, almost unguardable, and you see them, go to that, put up 60 on several occasions.
James Harden step back. It's just so impossible to get to. Everyone knows it's coming, and people still can't stop it.
I'd probably say AI's crossover.
I think AI's crossover was like the best to watch it, like a collage. I could watch that for 5 to 10 minutes.
I would say AI, the crossover, that's deadly.
Tim Hardaway got the best signature move ever. He started a hezzy cross.
Tim Hardaway, back then, the killer crossover. Him and Allen Iverson had the same move. So I'd say the killer crossover most definitely.
Isiah Thomas, the original Isiah Thomas, the between the leg cross.
I'll say Dirk. That one-legged fadeaway was unmatched. Nobody could really stop it.
Hakeem Olajuwon with the hook shot.
Hakeem Olajuwon with the dream shake. I think that was unstoppable, and it was his own thing. I thought that was so cool.
I feel like Manu, just with his Euro step.
Ginobili and Dwayne Wade for the Euro step. I feel that's the move that really changed the game exactly. People still using it until this day. It's a really effective move.
Kareem, skyhook, unguardable.
I gotta go with the skyhook. It's unguardable. I mean, he's already 7 foot with a 7'6" wingspan, and he's shooting a hook shot. You can't block it.
Michael Jordan, when he went up for the dunk, and everybody thought he was gonna dunk, he went up with the left. That's crazy.
Allen Iverson, killer crossover.
AI's crossover.
AI, what he did to Michael Jordan, that move right there.
Allen said yes, the bucket, the crowd loves it.
Well, James Harden undoubtedly has one of the most effective signature moves the league has ever seen. He may, though, be ready to make a move as well. Earlier this week, ESPN reported Harden's singular focus shifting to a trade with the Brooklyn Nets as his conversations in recent weeks have amped up with their stars, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. 3D, let's fast forward a few months. Will those three be in Brooklyn and start seeing some success?
Hey, Steve Nash, you sure you want to be a head coach? Are you sure you want to be a head coach, Steve Nash? You have 3 alpha dogs coming in. They're talking about, one is talking about, do we really need coaching? We just need to figure out how to share the basketball. Let's call it what it is. For James Harden to turn down $103 million, Isiah, a 2-year extension to be the first $50 million player in NBA history, maybe he is trying to win. Maybe he is saying, I want to share more to KD because he's won. Maybe I do want to share with Kyrie. He has a ring too. Because I've been in Houston now, I've been in the MVP candidate the last 3 or 4 years, but I haven't touched the finals yet. Isiah, maybe he's trying to win and maybe he wants to share now.
3D, I think you're right on target. I don't think there's a maybe to it. I think he's reached a point in his career where he's saying, I have to have a championship to feel good about my NBA career moving forward. At first it was about, proving yourself. He's made the money. He's been the MVP of the league. And that still hasn't set well with him because when he still looks out there, he still sees Durant as a champion. He sees LeBron James as a champion. Now Anthony Davis is a champion. He wants to be a champion also. And, some things money can't buy. And I think right now the Beard is looking for a place where he can have a chance to win a championship and call himself a champion. And what he's done thus far these last 4 or 5 years, he definitely deserves a shot at it and chasing it. So I hope he does end up with a Brooklyn or Philadelphia, because then that gives him a legitimate shot to chase the ring. And you want the best players to always have a legitimate shot at chasing it.
Then let me ask you this, Zeke. What do you see as what's best for the Rockets in handling a potential Harden trade?
as my mom used to say, get all you can while you can.
And I agree with that, Isiah. And Kristen, you have to realize, for Russell Westbrook and James Harden not to be happy, I'm going to sit back and be like New Orleans was on how they took everything from the Lakers and got all those picks and all those players.
Yeah.
Houston Rockets, you do the same thing with Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
Well, in other NBA news, the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed with the OKC Thunder on a trade featuring Al Horford and Danny Green. Horford signed a 4-year contract worth $109 million with the Sixers as a free agent last summer. Terrence Ferguson will also land in Philly as part of that deal. This, by the way, the first move that we saw from Daryl Morey as the Sixers' new president of basketball operations. But it wasn't the last either, guys. Morey and the Sixers also agreed to send Josh Richardson and the 36th pick of last night's draft to the Mavericks to acquire Seth Curry. So let me ask you each in 3D. I'll start with you. How do you see the Sixers shaping up ahead of this season?
Well, I take my hat off to Elton Brand, realizing he brought in Al Horford, it didn't work. He brought in Richardson from Miami, it didn't work. So now he gave Daryl Morey the freedom to go shake things up. You're bringing some shooting in Seth Curry, right there shooting from the parking lot. You need to create space for Embiid, and of course when Ben Simmons gets back healthy from the knee injury. So I like all the moves they're making, Isiah. They're not playing around. They're not trying to make things fit or force it to fit. You move on. You're trying to figure out how to improve your team, knowing that Embiid's not getting any younger.
Yeah, I think structurally what Philadelphia did, it made sense. They basically said, okay, we're going to build around Embiid. So they really made the choice that we're going to put players around Embiid that really makes sense for him. He's got Simmons as a passer. Now we got shooters to put around him. But if you lose Simmons and you bring in a Harden, you still have the shooters. You still got the big man in the middle. So you really kind of put your team in a place where structurally it makes sense and you prepare for present and also the future if you were to make a trade. A very underrated move, bringing in Seth Curry. We always look at the Curry family and automatically we say Steph, then we say Dale, and then we say Seth in terms of the best shooters, right? But then when the numbers get put up, you say, oh, wait a minute. Seth shoots it better than Steph. He shoots it better than Dale. Oh, we have been overlooking the improvement that Seth has been making year in, year out in the NBA. And I'm glad he's being rewarded and also acknowledged for the hard work and improvement that he's made in this game.
Also, according to multiple reports, the sign and trade agreement between the Kings and Bucks that would send Bogdanović to Milwaukee is anything but certain. And now we're learning that New York Times is reporting that the league will investigate the way in which this went down. And the deal originally reported Bogdanović would have been swapped for Dante DiVincenzo, Ersan Ilyasova, and DJ Wilson as well. Most recently, though, it's been reported that Bogdanović will enter restricted free agency instead. 3D, you're saying, what's your reaction here to what we've seen in the last 24 hours?
Well, things get very interesting because when I first heard it, I said, him and Drew Holiday in the backcourt, you got the Greek Freak, Chris Middleton. It sounds like a nice Formula 4 piece there, and you put some pieces around them. You keep some guys. But now there's something fishy going on, Isiah, behind the scenes there. So now we have to wait and see how this flushes out before I get too excited. Because I had Drew Holiday kicked in. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Let me show my emotions. This is not done yet.
3D's a fisherman, by the way, Zeke. Don't you forget it. If he said something fishy's going down, then you know something fishy may be going down.
That is probably the most accurate description I've heard of it.
One way to put it.
Some fishy's going on. But when you lose that type of opportunity, because he's a great shooter, he would have made it better for Giannis and also Middleton and also Holiday. I mean, he really fit. But the thing that you questioned, though, was the loss of all the bench and the role players, losing that many players, losing that many role players. Who was your bench going to be so weak that you wouldn't be able to really compete when those stars came out of the game? So it may end up being a win for Milwaukee being able to keep some of those young developing players.
Well, let's take a look at the updated list of notable free agents, keeping in mind that free agency starts Friday at 6 Eastern with those the conversations and negotiations with contracts then set to sign on Sunday. Also Thursday, The Athletic reporting Celtics forward Gordon Hayward has opted out of his player option next season worth more than $34 million in order to become a free agent. So let's talk a little bit about him. Zeke, where do you see as his best fit?
I'm just saying, one turned down 50, the beard turned down 50. Now Gordon opted out of 34.
I'll take it.
We in the pandemic. There's COVID. The league revenues are going down. I'm just saying, business wise, I'm not sure, but when you look at it from a playing standpoint, I think what he's probably saying is, maybe I should look, out for other teams or look to go play someplace else, because when you look at Tatum and you look at Brown, both those guys are developing. Both those guys have developed. They've established themselves as number one, number two options on the team defensively and offensively. So it's Hayward's probably looking at a very difficult climb to replace one of those two. So he's probably looking at where can I go and play and probably gain a little bit more security long term, but leaving the $34 million short term, that's a big let go.
Well, and you make a great point there, 3D. Would you consider some of that security, knowing the uncertainty in the long term?
Yes, after what he's been through, once again, guys, I think there's something fishy going on behind closed doors that we're not finding out about.
That is not one, but two fishy stories that Dennis has identified.
Two fishy stories today, because $34 million, you come off a injury. You haven't really showed us you was that guy in Utah coming back from the injury and all the things Isiah just stated. I'm like Danny Ainge, I'm opting in and let's figure out something else. But for me, it's hard to leave that kind of money on the table, knowing what you've been through. Now, if you and your agent have some other suitors calling you and they telling you they want to offer you something, then once again, I get it and I understand. I bless you for that.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to have more as Draft 2020.
I'm extremely excited to play against Kyrie Irving. As of late, I've been doing a lot of watching him. CJ McCollum for sure, just because I feel like we have very similar games.
I'm excited to play KD. I just feel like he's unstoppable, so I want to see what it feels like to be on the court.
Me and Tyler Hero with the Heat, we grew up together, played together from 6th to 8th grade.
I look forward to guarding Russell Westbrook just because he's my favorite point guard growing up.
My brother won. And then probably Kevin Durant, just because people be comparing me to him, but I don't know. I just want to play him. I never hooped against him before.
Definitely Giannis, and going up against the Greek Freak. I'm excited for it.
I'd say Giannis and Anthony Davis, just because they are very great players, and I plan on learning from them, but also just playing against them. So, me and Anthony Davis will most definitely be a great matchup.
Giannis, Anthony Davis, because those are some of the best power forwards in the league, and I want to see how I stack up against them.
And Chris Middleton, because he went to my high school, so it's going to be different from playing him one-on-one in my high school gym to actually, on the big stage.
Playing against KD, he's a DMV dude. So
it's obviously LeBron James. Best player in the world. Just being able to be on the same court as him, to brag to my father about it.
Westbrook, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, Dame Lillard, the best point guards in the league. I'm excited to go against those guys.
Mo Bamba from the Orlando Magic. That's my bestie right there, so I want to play against them.
LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Damian Lillard.
Steph, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul.
Just the opportunity to play against all of them, honestly.
Although I will admit, hearing some of these young guys talk about growing up watching guys who are, my age is not doing a lot for my self-esteem. But I know that you two remember being
Can
rookies.
I just say something?
What? Yes.
Can I just say something?
Always.
What are these rookies thinking about? All them guys that they named, I'm saying I don't want to play against none of them. Who in their right mind goes, I want to play against LeBron James. I want to play against Kevin Durant. I want to play against Steph Curry. I want to play against Westbrook.
I don't think I want to name them.
No.
I'm not going to mention his name. I'm going to fly under the radar.
Just go play and be quiet.
Right.
Yeah,
You know
have
what?
fun.
I'm not going to
Let it
mention
happen.
that I'm looking forward to that matchup, but I am going to ask.
That's like that guy who used to say, "Yeah, I want to fight Mike Tyson."
Right. You don't. I promise you don't. Yeah. I want to ask you two, though, the same question. Who you're most excited to watch in this rookie class? Isiah, I'm going to start with you, although I hear that the two of you have chosen the same player for your first pick.
Yeah, there's two players. Do you want the first player or you want them both?
You can do it any way you'd like. Let's start with the first, since you agreed on that one.
Okay, the first one that I'm interested in is Aaron Nesmith. Who Boston picked up. He can really shoot the basketball. Played at Vanderbilt, and I just think that he is NBA ready. He has an NBA shot, and before he got injured, I thought he was. I just think that he's ready to play, and I'm really looking forward to see how he plays at the next level, because I don't see that there's a lot in his game that he really needs to change, because he's got that 3D already automatic shot that's ready to go, where he just every time he shoots it, he says, "Leave it."
And I'm guessing,
Yes, sir.
3D, that's why you chose him as well?
Yes, when I was doing my homework, I started hearing about this great shooter. And then when Jerry Stackhouse, his head coach, said, he's the best shooter I've seen on a day-to-day basis, I said, wait a minute, Stackhouse, you've been around a lot of great shooters, the ACC, the NBA. And Isiah, to your point, I started watching it. We know what Danny Ainge likes. He needs shooters around Tatum and Brown, so when they get double-teamed, there's somebody that can catch and finish the basketball. Not catch and dribble, because that's what Tatum and Brown do. You need somebody to catch and shoot. And, man, I love watching this young kid shoot now, watching the film.
Then tell me who's next for you, Zeke.
Sadiq Bey, the way he played at Villanova, he can shoot the basketball from the perimeter. He's got inside game. He can put it on the floor. He's manly in terms of his presentation. His mom played, so she knows how to get on him. Not only does she know how to get on him, but she also inspired him. And then just his whole maturation in terms of who he is as a person, understanding where he fits in the game, understanding how he fits in society. I really like everything about Bey in terms of what he's going to be, and I'm really curious to see how he's going to compete in the NBA. I don't know if he's going to be a breakout superstar, but these two that I just talked about, they can walk into anybody's locker room, they can put on any uniform, and you can put them in an NBA game and feel comfortable with them playing 15 to 20 minutes a night.
You also, Isiah, just gave some very important advice to those of us preparing to be the mother of a young son at some point. So she knows how to get on him, but also inspires him. 3D, who's next for you?
I have to go with Obi Toppin. I know New York Knicks fans, I know we didn't have our normal draft experience, but I didn't hear too many boos for a change. It's been a long time since I've talked to a Knicks fan where everyone's excited. Even when Porzingis got there, there was a few boos. This young man right here, you know that from high school all the way up to college, each year he's gotten better and better and better. And you have someone that's coming into your franchise ready to play. The question is, will you let him go early on, Zeke, like we see a lot of these young guys? Don't make him wait. Throw him in the fire and let's see what he has.
Well, we're going to have more as Draft 2020 Next Steps continues after the break with the 15th overall selection in Cole Anthony. Recognize a couple of the faces in that room, right, guys? Stay with us.
Hold back tears. Hold back tears.
With the 15th pick last night, the Orlando Magic selected Cole Anthony of the University of North Carolina. He said those, by the way, are tears of joy. We may be biased, but Cole is part of our NBA TV family, the son of our Greg Anthony. Here they are.
Cole, Steve Smith, I want to say congratulations. You know, me and your dad played together. We worked together. He has been so proud of you. I got a chance to see the emotions from your family. I know how much you guys have put into this. Talk to me about the next steps, and I got a chance to watch you play, and I look at you as a old school point guard that can score the basketball, but not scared to defend, but also can rebound. Just tell the people out there what they're getting in Cole Anthony as a point guard and as a leader. And that's the one thing I think it stands out from you, from a lot of other these guards. Your leadership is off the chain. And I got a chance to play with your dad, who had those same type of qualities.
Well, I mean, I think, look, it comes with the job. Being a point guard is a job. And so just in terms of leadership, that's part of the position right there. I mean, if you don't lead as a point guard, I can't really call you a point guard. And when I say lead, that don't mean just yelling at everybody, telling everybody what to do. That means going out there and showing everybody that you're going to do it first, earning their respect. Because if you just go out there and talk a lot, they ain't going to respect you if you're not in there putting in the work too. So it's a combination of all that.
Well, congratulations, Cole. But I got to go dad to dad here, Greg. This moment for you as a father, compare the emotions you're feeling now versus when you went through the same process coming out of UNLV.
One of those guys in the
Wow, Andy, I appreciate the question. Not even remotely comparable. I'd have to compare the emotions I felt tonight to the emotions I felt when my children were born. That's probably something that would give the viewers some perspective. If you're a parent, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Like that, you really can't describe the feeling you have when your child is born. I recall, obviously, Cole being my firstborn, what that was like. And tonight, because there was a lot of uncertainty, we had heard conversations about what could happen, but we had no real indications up until just before. And so when his name was called, man, I tell you, I can't put into words the emotions, because you're so proud of your child. I know how hard he works. I know how difficult the past year was for him, having surgery, being injured, the team not performing well, and him having everybody criticize him and belittle him as a basketball player. But it gave me great pride to see how hard he worked, how much he focused on getting better, and how much he loved the game. And so to see his dreams come true for me is a bit overwhelming, to be honest. It was very emotional for me, and it just overwhelmed me. Like, you don't even know it's coming, and it does. So I'm extremely excited and happy for him. I'm worn out, man. I got to tell you, I am done. I wish I could go sleep for about 3-4 days. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I got 3 other kids, so that's not going to happen. But, yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot, and I'm just so happy because I also felt like he probably got the best situation he could have ended up in going at 15. I don't know that he would have gotten a better situation had he gone top 5, just because it's a team that made the playoffs. It's a position of need for them. And it'll be an opportunity for him to have an impact from day one.
It's also convenient for you. Have you already mapped out the road down I-95 from your home to Orlando?
Oh, yeah. My youngest son, Tyson, was already talking about wondering when the schedule's coming out so he could, put on his calendar which games we're going to go to. That was really awesome, too. Like, just to have that experience.
I might got to ban you, bro.
I can afford my own.
I don't know, though. You're a bad luck charm. I can't even lie.
Is Dad going to have to buy his own tickets?
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I got a few cheap stories about him, so I don't know if I want to just give him all that luxury of getting free tickets.
You know what? He can afford them. He'll go either way. He can pay for him. He's fine.
My only problem is if I don't give him to him, I don't know if he'll come. I really don't. I was messing with him.
Guys, it's a great story. Congratulations to you both.
Yes.
Off camera before we brought you on, Greg did point out that he was picked 3 spots ahead of you in the draft. He's got that to hang over you from here on out.
Hey, well, since we're talking about the stuff that we talked about off camera, we got to talk about that schmedium shirt he's wearing. That shirt right there. His people will tell you, I just want to tell you that, Cole, you complimented me on this shirt. You want to say, Cole, you complimented me on the outfit. Dog, just because you upgraded from your normal fits don't mean that it was a serious, that don't mean that it's acceptable.
Hey, GA.
My big question is,
son. Can you
Hey,
believe
GA.
was the secret documentary that Spike Lee's working on, was it being filmed tonight?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question, Andy. But I will say, Cole, I've been around Greg.
We'll give you a little teaser on that one, Andy.
Hey, Cole, I've been around Greg a long time. This is the first time I see Greg lost to words. That's the first time, Cole, I've seen him lost to words.
Hey, well, you know what? He been my father for 20 years. That's the first time I see him lost to words, too. That dude can talk.
You know what?
I'm happy something got him to calm down.
I'm here. Shout out to Dub Nation. We lit. I can't wait to get out there with you guys and just work hard and just work my tail off. So, again, thank you. I'm truly blessed. I'll see you soon.
See you soon is certainly correct as we look at the upcoming dates. Free agent negotiations starting Friday at 6 Eastern, then contracts can be signed just after noon on Sunday. Training camp beginning December 1st, preseason December 11th, opening night December 22nd. Guys, in a year that's been entirely unprecedented in the NBA, the rookie class is now going to see more of the same. No days off, no summer ahead, no vacation ahead of training camp. Guys, I want each of you to speak to this trial by fire that this rookie class is going to experience. Zeke, let me start with you.
Well, it'll definitely be a trial by fire, but I feel like all the rookies who were drafted, I do believe that they're ready. I think that they all played, exceptionally well during the time that they had to play. I think they all were in shape. And, I want to give a special shout out to the Ball family because when I met the Balls, right, I met a father, I met a wife. They got 2 kids now who have been drafted 1 and 3 in the NBA draft. Both of those young men are gentlemen whenever you meet them off the floor, the way they conduct themselves. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about an NBA family, the Ball family, in terms of what they've done the last 3-4 years, you have to give them a lot of respect for what they've been through and what they're doing. So congratulations to the Ball family.
3D?
Yeah, I think, guys, the only thing I will be a little concerned about, the last 10 years, the Summer League has been a great platform for the guys to kind of sink their teeth into the flavor, the speed of the game, the action. So I think that will be sorely missed. But I do agree with you, Isiah. These young guys in the last 3 or 4 years are so talented. They're so savvy about the game. The creativity and all that. So I look for it. Maybe like Edwards, we know it's not going to be a lot of pressure because of Cat, but 3 through 15, I look for all those guys to play well because they're going to teams that need their skill set.
Well, stay with us on NBA TV because we're going to be right back after this. Klay Thompson was one of the most durable players in the league since entering the NBA in 2011. He appeared in 615 of a possible 640 games from that season until 2019. Only DeAndre Jordan at 616 had appeared in more games. Here, you're looking at the breakdown by percentage of those games played. So 3D, without speculating as to how long the road may be, what can you say of the physical fortitude that this rehab, this recovery, this return is going to require from Klay?
Well, it's going to require a lot of work, and obviously Klay just coming back from the ACL. And one thing we never questioned about Klay Thompson is his hard work. So I'm not going to waver from that. But like the rest of the basketball world, and like Bob Myers talked about earlier, we hurt. We mourn a little bit because we know how good of a player Klay Thompson is. We know how great of an athlete. We know how great of a person. We know how great of a teammate he's been in Golden State since he's been in the NBA. So Klay, we're pulling for you. Keep working hard. And we look forward to seeing you next year.
And Zeke, under the assumption that he isn't in the lineup this season, where do the Warriors go from here?
Well, they'll depend a lot on Steph Curry, and they'll lean on him heavily. And all the defenses will, again, be designed to try to stop Steph. But, Steph is such a gamer, and he's such a competitor. I believe he will figure it out. But I like to echo what 3D is saying, in terms of the basketball world, the basketball community. We all love Klay Thompson, and we truly are going to miss him, and we wish him well because he is definitely one of the good guys in the business, and you root for him. So, all our prayers go out to you, Klay.
He certainly is. Dennis, What are your expectations now for this team, and how drastically have they changed since this news?
Well, there are certain nights when you knew one guy would go off. You knew Steph or Clay would go off. So now take him off the floor. You look for Steph to do more. You look for Steve Kerr to get more creative. Will they make another move before the season starts? Possibly. So one thing we know about Bob Myers and Isiah, you know this. He's not going to, he may cry a few tears tonight, but when he wakes up in the morning, he will dry his eyes and get back to work and figure out how can he improve this team, knowing that he's not going to find another Klay Thompson, but can he find a piece or two to continue to make this team competitive so they can get back in the playoff hunt?
Well, we're going to be back to wrap up this show right after the break, so stay with us on NBA TV as we're less than 24 hours away from free agency in the NBA. 6 Eastern with those conversations, the negotiations.
Stop it, Kristen.
Contracts are set to sign. I know what you're doing. I know you're set. Like, why put Anthony Davis on the list?
Yes, why?
Well, okay, because technically we have to put him on the list. Okay, so 3D, I'll start with you. As you look at the list, he's going to call it fishy again, isn't he, Isiah? As you look at the list, which of those names, or potentially even one of them, stands out to you as most intriguing?
I'm going to go with Fred VanVleet, because Anthony Davis, I don't think is going anywhere. Brandon Ingram's not going anywhere. But Fred VanVleet, Isiah, you helped start that Toronto franchise. I think the last couple of years and the way he played in the playoffs, there may be a team to come in and offer him a starting point guard position, and Toronto may not be able to match it. I think that's why they drafted Flynn, just in case he walked. Everyone else, I think, may stay. Gordon Hayward, I thought a similar scenario where he maybe could come back, opt out, and sign a different deal with Boston. Other than that, last person I may think leave, Isiah, would be Gallinari.
You know, 3D. There's actually 3 names on that list that I was looking at that potentially could leave. And you talk about VanVleet. I would also put Serge Ibaka in that also. And then you would slide down to Detroit and you would look at like Christian Wood. I mean, when you look at him, Detroit has a very, a tough decision to make in terms of, do they give Woods the money or do they, let somebody else come in? I think, those are 3 players that I look at that potentially have the ability to move or stay put. But I think both those franchises have some difficult decisions to make around those 3 players.
And unlike when we typically have these conversations and have weeks turning into months to talk about it all, it will be hours turning